Well, good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Fashion Flair Friday. I'm Marion with Powerful Presence, and I'm always coming to you on Fridays to talk about fashion and style. But today I have a special guest, and so we are recording this interview, and we'll be showing this to you on Saturday or whenever you have the opportunity to view it. So welcome, and I want to introduce you to my special guest today, who is Kerstin O'Shields. And Kerstin is a body language strategist, and I have come to know her over the last year. And I thought, boy, this is, I think, such an important topic, because sometimes we take our body language for granted and we don't realize that we're sending messages every single day, as well as we're receiving messages that really can be a clue or a cue to us about those individuals that we're interacting with. So I just want to say a big welcome to Kerstin. Great to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute thrill, again, to connect with you as always, because you're so lovely. And I love that you really put out that message of your presence is so important. And we both talk about that in our own way. So thank you for this opportunity to share in that moment.
Well, you're very welcome. And I really believe that, whether it's body language or it's style, we are always speaking non-verbally. And so really just to create that awareness for everybody. So I'm going to just let you sort of dive in and tell us how we can create influence and trust with our body language.
It's so fascinating to me how much power we have in our nonverbal communication, right? Both with you as you talk about how you dress yourself for that power aspect and the presence aspect. And this is also so important from human to human about how much our communication is based in body language. Most people don't know it. We've heard it's 80%, but they actually broke it down even more. Yeah. Body language, and we're talking human to human communication. This is taking in every aspect, written, verbal, nonverbal. And 55% of our human to human communication is body carriage and body gesturing and movement. So that's your posture, that's how, that universal question, what do I do with my hands aspect, and the facial expression, all of those things put together. That's 55%. So that's over half of all of our communication. And then 38% is our vocal tone. It's not what you're saying, it's how you're saying it, which actually only leaves 7% for the words. That's it.
And now you're surprised to hear that, because they're always worried about, well, what are they going to think?
What do I say?
What do I say? What do I say? And I tell my clients the same thing. It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
It's how you say it, because saying hey is it's so much different than hey.
Yeah, exactly. One word.
Right. Or I love in basketball, there's this one, and I get this sent to me all the time. It cracks me up, where they're like, dude, oh, dude. Right. I mean, it's so funny how one word can translate completely differently, no matter how you say it.
Yeah.
And I like to say it's how you build a house. So if you think of the foundation as your words, right? And you're not going to have the house without the foundation. Oh. And I don't know how many houses you've bought and sold, but I have never gone into an open house or gone through a house and looked at it and went, oh my gosh, this foundation, it's amazing. Did you see this? It's gorgeous, right? Nobody does that. But what you do look at is how many rooms are in the house, right? How many bathrooms? What's the layout of the house? That's the body gestures. That's the body movement. And then, this is your realm, the colors, the adornments, the landscaping, right? That's what pulls at the heartstrings. That's our vocal tone.
Oh,
so that's how it all comes together to create that aspect of invitation and engagement. These are so important to understand. And the key factor is, and this is at a high level, most people are only aware of about 40% of their body language.
Mm.
If my child's coming home with 40% on their test score,
Not good.
that's not a good conversation for them. They're not going to have a happy afternoon. Right. And so this is where people, we get that frustrating aspect of walking away from a conversation or engaging with someone and going, oh, that just felt so out of whack. I don't know what I did wrong. Right. And then we're feeling weird. We're feeling insecure. We're not sure how to go to that person and engage with them anymore. And usually most of it's been body language. Again, not what you're saying, but how you're saying it in your gestures and in the vocal tone. So this is where I say it's your presence. And that's what it then encompasses, is your presence is the permission you give others of how they're going to engage with you.
Well, and we need to really listen to what you're saying to us, because you've just got a wealth of experience in this field. I mean, you have been you are an opera singer, right?
I am, and retired, but yes.
Once
an opera singer, always an opera singer, yes.
Oh my goodness, that would be my dream. But also theater. So you really understand how to convey so much through the body language, as well as the tone of voice and the expression in the voice, for sure. So we need to listen to you very carefully today.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome. So let's say we're going to an event. I don't know, it could be a networking event. It could be, a social event. And so you're there and you are going to meet a lot of new people, or maybe you're also going to reconnect with some people that you haven't seen for a while.
Yes.
So what are some of the things that can have us be approachable and engaging with, so the people aren't afraid of us. They're not afraid to walk up to us. They want to get to know who we are. What would you suggest that we do with our body language?
There's a few things, they seem like they're really simple, but because they're so simple, we forget them.
Okay.
Right. And the main thing is how often, people think, oh, yes, I was there. I had a great time. I was smiling. But how often were you smiling before you walked through that doorway, going into that room? Right. How often are you smiling before you go onto the virtual call when the camera starts? That first impression is what sets the tone for everything. Most people, they're very in their own space when they're walking into something like that. And it really makes the difference when you're walking through that door. Really open yourself to the full space. Be smiling as you walk in. And it feels a little different. I'm not going to say weird, because it's just whatever habit you create. But start that smile and then walk in the door. I'm like, no, I'm fake. I'm like, no, you're inviting. The nanosecond you walk in, and it really makes that difference between you being the one who walks in and someone across the room goes, oh, Kerstin, right?
Yeah.
Versus you walk in and of course, this is what we always say, right? You have given up permission for engagement. And 10 minutes later, someone walks up and goes, oh, I didn't even see you walk in. When did you get here? That's the difference between magnetizing attention and having to chase attention.
Okay.
That first way of walking in, where the other person's doing all the effort to make sure they get my attention, I've now magnetized them to me. That's 10 minutes of effort I just gained back. Versus having to go and person to person announce, oh, by the way, I'm here. Oh, by the way, I'm here. Oh, by the way, I'm here. Right. That's a lot of outward energy output. By the end of that networking event, you're exhausted.
Well, I think also how you walk into the room, not only with that smile, but also with those shoulders back.
Yes.
And a little bit of energy, walking into the room with confidence. I take note, but somebody that walks into the room with the shoulders slumped forward and maybe the head down a little bit and kind of shuffling into the room, It's like you kind of tell that person is uncomfortable.
Yes.
So if they
They're
are
not attracting attention in that
right,
way.
not tracking
Yes.
attention, they're, well, maybe they're attracting attention, but in more of a negative way than a positive way.
Yes, right. Not magnetizing.
Right.
They're repelling that attention. Oh, that person isn't, really interested, and they'll go put their interest somewhere else. So that's our number one pillar in the body language success pillars
Okay.
at our institute is confidence. You can do all the other things totally right, but if you don't do it with confidence, it's all for naught.
There you go.
And that's based in the body carriage. Are you standing tall? Most people, because of computers, because of cars, and even more importantly, because of phones, they actually sit and stand 2 to 3 inches under their natural height.
Oh,
For
interesting.
me to do that, that looks like this.
Yeah.
Now, if I come on to your show here and like, oh my gosh, I'm the nation's leading body language strategist, and I'm so excited to share with you so many body language factors that are going to make your life amazing, right? Are you going to buy into that? No,
No.
absolutely not. So bringing myself up to my natural height. And what I'd like to tell people is sitting and standing, everything's the same from your hips up. So you have to practice this in everything you do so this becomes natural in your body. So then it feels natural when you walk into a room, which then allows more natural energy to engage when you're talking with other people.
Yes. Okay.
And that's when we magnetize. So that's what we teach at the Business Leadership Excellence Institute, is how to magnetize people to you. Reduce that chasing of business. That's exhausting. That's not good for your bottom dollar. And it really messes with your life work balance. So magnetizing with your presence, that's what's key. And the beauty of that is because it's so natural, you're actually starting with respect right from the get-go.
Mm-hmm. Well, you mentioned pillars. So you said
Yes.
pillar number 1 was confidence. So tell us about pillar number 2.
Yeah. So we have 4 pillars.
Okay.
We have confidence, competence, trust, and approachability.
Okay.
Those are the body language success pillars. And I've been blessed where I have worked with Fortune 500 companies and entrepreneurs literally all over the world. I've worked with Google, eBay Global, currently working with Amazon, and then doing keynote speaking internationally.
Mm-hmm.
I've been able to study this, starting with opera, with my performance career, and then taking it into the business career. There's really 4 aspects of leadership that we all as humans are so pulled to. And it's those 4 things: confidence, competence, trust, and approachability. When you walk in exuding those 4 things, people naturally want to know who you are and what you have to do. And more importantly, they're going to listen to what you have to say.
Okay.
Yes.
And so you had also mentioned to me when we were talking some time ago about abundance principles.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
So this has been really fascinating for me because abundance is a big word, right? It's a big buzzword. But I am a curious person. I'm a lifelong learner. And when people bring up stuff like that, I start to dig in, like, really, what does that mean? And working with female leadership all over the world, what I found is there's some very specific aspects of abundance that are another magnetizer to success. And I'm very lucky to be, we have the Women's Leadership Coalition at the BLE Institute. And this is where we focus on those particular things. And the abundance principles are collaboration. They are courage, which is huge, right? And then it's really important that you step into the natural aspects of why are we here, and have that collective aspect. Okay. So we focus on, and women, we naturally collaborate, right? All the time. And I would say it's where we shine the most and where we struggle the most.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And one of the things I really want to dispel and create more energy in is when we're in collaboration, there's no need to be in competition.
Right.
Right. And competition has been pushed for a long time, but that's not where we excel. And that's not where we blossom. And that's not where we need to be nourished. Stepping into a higher level of collaboration is, and this is what I say all the time in our tagline, is empowered women empower the world.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're stepping into. So the beauty of harnessing that and giving women a place to collaborate, that's what we do at the Women's Leadership Coalition. And then really stepping into courage. What does that look like? Stepping outside of the box, living in your greatness, right? And, as women entrepreneurs, as we are, it's not always an easy road, but we have to get that encouragement for courage to take that to the next level.
Well, and
Right.
so many women, young women, and I was there at one time myself. I remember in college taking a speech class, and it was like I was terrified. But, I had to take that leap. I had to have the courage to actually get up in front of the room and begin, say something, even if it didn't, make a whole lot of sense, I suppose. But having the courage just to move forward in whatever you do, I think
Yes.
is so important, and not worry about, well, if you fail or if you don't do as good as you think you should, don't worry about it. Just try it again, keep on trying. So having courage to step into your greatness and step into something bigger than you ever thought you could achieve. I think is
Yes.
really something as women that we've got to give ourselves a little push to do.
Yes. And so we love to nourish that and give women a place to be seen and heard, and really talk about those things and what that looks like for them. We have accountability groups. We have the Abundance Principle Power Hour, so we call it the AP Power Hour, where we can actually get in and start creating goals and then the action steps to encourage women to do those things and celebrate those things, right? We got to celebrate other women who are sisters out there making a difference in the world and making a difference for their lives.
And I do think I've noticed that our younger generations of women seem to they're more comfortable with the collaboration than maybe the older generations. Have you noticed that?
I think it's becoming a more accepted concept.
Okay.
And, the beauty of women entrepreneurship is it's taking off like crazy, right? As of right now, it's an $8 billion industry, and it's growing pretty much daily, right? It's growing and growing, growing. And I think that's a concept is it's really time for women to step into that together, to release the cattiness. My own personal belief is there is no glass ceiling, right? There's a door. If you feel like there's a glass ceiling, go outside.
Right.
Expand. Oh, get those wings open. Test them out a little bit. Feel that space. And that's what I want to encourage and get women to think bigger with that courage, collaborate, all the different aspects of the abundance principles.
And so body language fitting into the success or the abundance principles, it's tell me how that ties together.
So they feed the magnetism, both of them do.
Okay.
Right. Your body, that's your personal presence.
Okay.
And so when you really feel confident, when you know your competence is shining out, people are getting you, that you're creating that trust, you're very approachable and you enjoy those conversations and they're really fulfilling, right? So once and I call that being on your center, once you're really existing on your center, then you take these and you live that into the abundance principles. And that's where the energy takes off and it shines. And again, you're magnetizing business that you want to work with.
Yes.
Yes. And this works for not only your business, but for your life. Every ounce. It feeds the relationships you have with your family, with your children, with your friends, and creates stronger business relationships and collaborations and expansion. It works in everything.
Yes, I can see that. Well, that's very interesting. And I think if we can think that way and think about how this all interacts, it just allows us, I think, to lead a life that is congruent,
Yes.
And to lead a life that gives us joy and gives us peace and happiness rather than stress.
I agree. Yeah. And one of the things I preach like crazy is perfect is gross. It's
Okay.
so gross. Purpose is what brings fulfillment.
Okay.
And I think this is going back to, there's a shift from really being in that competitive aspect, was when women are trying to exist in perfect.
Mhm.
And when we really step into, that's all energy we're putting out there,
Yeah.
right? That same energy can go into purpose. And that's the beauty of stepping into a higher level of your greatness, because this is where you create excellence. And this is where you attract excellence. And that's where the collaboration now really feeds the fulfillment, like you said, the joy, the peace, the happiness for everybody involved, not just the one person.
Got it.
Perfect is lonely, and perfect has no energy in life.
I love that. Love that. Yes. Remember that, ladies. Remember that. And
Yes.
I remember that as well. You know, I want to ask you a couple of practical tips that you can give the women in our group. And that is, you know, so many of us are on Zoom today. And
Yes.
we're in Zoom meetings and Zoom meetings and Zoom meetings. So how does body language, again, apply to how we show up on Zoom?
Well, the beauty of Zoom, and actually, I've been coaching on Zoom for almost 10 years. So
Okay.
I was way ahead of the curve on this. And I think it's fantastic. I don't feel it should replace meeting with people in person. It's a beautiful way to do a hybrid, right? To reach further out, but we also want to connect with people one-on-one.
Mhm.
Now, here's the thing, as humans, and this goes back to the body language strategy practice. And this is what it's based on. As humans, we emotionally respond to what we physically see and hear.
Okay.
It doesn't matter where it's at, whether it's in person or whether it's on Zoom or whether it's virtual. We still are going to emotionally respond to what we physically see and hear. So one practical thing I would say is always have your camera on, and always plan to have your camera on, because if you don't, you're only giving us one half to emotionally respond to.
Mhm.
We're not going to be as pulled to believe what you have to say, because we're missing half of the communication.
I agree.
Right. And that's 55%. So it's actually a little over half, because that's your body gestures, your movement, your expressions. And if you really want us to buy into what you're saying, you got to show up.
Go up.
You got to show up
Be
fully.
seen, right?
Yes. Yes. Allow yourself to be seen. And then be specific and energetic to the moment.
Okay.
Remember, you're still engaging. A lot of people treat this in a way that I call they're lacking emotional responsibility. They're treating it as if they're looking at something on their phone, and but everybody's seeing you. So, this is what I said before. When that camera comes on, are you automatically engaging, or are you over here? Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I'm listening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Yeah. Right. I don't feel like I'm a part of what's happening in that moment with you, right? That's not magnetizing
Right.
at all. So understand, this is an engagement practice. It is not just a to the side tool that is not person to person. It is still very much person to person.
Mhm.
And I don't care what industry you're in. If you want business and you want a healthy relationship, you're in the people business.
Yes, you are in the people business.
You are in the people business.
Sometimes I'm on calls where maybe it's a women's group, let's say, and I'm not the leader of the group. I'm a participant, let's say, or I'm there
Okay.
to actually learn
Right.
something. And what I notice is that some women and men will come into the meeting with very dark cameras or no light at all. And like you say, they'll be dressed in their t-shirt, or, you know, it's almost like, well, nobody will know, or nobody's going to pay attention to me, or I don't want anybody to pay attention to me. And, you know, how do you feel about that?
I feel Well, I feel that's a very deep conversation because I do feel like this has become a barrier, except for it really should have been just a tool
Yes.
from the get-go. And we are now trained to not be as emotionally responsive when we look at a screen. And I called it, the funny thing is, I have 2 teenage girls. They have to listen to me about this all day long. And I'm like, hi, hello, eye contact. Look at me here, right? And we started calling this the donkey face. And because the face just drops when people are looking at their camera, or excuse me, when they're looking at their phone, there's not a requirement for you to emotionally engage back, right? So everybody goes like this. And what I'm seeing, and this is not a good thing, but as a body language strategist, I find this very fascinating. Now what I'm seeing is most people, when they go to look and listen, they go like this. It's the exact same look that's transferred from here.
Good point.
To here.
Good point.
Right. And this is where we're actually starting to lose some of that energetic engagement because we don't feel like we're being seen or heard, right? There's no engagement with it.
Okay.
That's why I said I feel like this is a big conversation because I do feel like this is leading towards some of the anxiety and depression that a lot of people are experiencing and experienced during the pandemic because they were responding as if it was a screen, not a person.
A person.
Yes.
Very good. Yes. I hadn't really thought of it that way. And, so often I'll see if we're going out to dinner, there may be a family of 4 sitting next to us and all 4 of them are on their phones. It's like, wait, isn't this an opportunity to actually communicate with one another?
Yes, exactly. One of the best parenting decisions I ever made was I would take my children individually, each on what I called a girl date every week.
Nice.
So they would get one-on-one time with me. It was a quick little coffee date, or we do lunch if we had time, and no phones were allowed.
Good for you.
0. No, you engage with me. And now they're older teenagers will go out. Mom, can't believe that mom is on her phone the whole time. She's not even, and her kids are on the phone. So I'm making progress.
Good job, Mom.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, listen, I want people to know how they can connect with you, find you, know more about your academy. I think you have a podcast now as well, don't you?
Do, yes.
All right. So tell everybody how they can find you and connect with you.
Well, we would love for you to join in and watch Business Care with Kerstin, where I am interviewing other women entrepreneurs, and we talk about some of the really deep aspects of how can you step into your greatness for your business. And you're walking away with great ideas from women who really have been there, right? And we're coming up with conversations of where was that struggle at and what helped you get to that next level. So we can all learn from each other and making sure you're walking away with tools. So that's Business Care with Kerstin. That's on Facebook and other podcasts. We're very lucky that this has been sharing out further and further. And then also I am the CEO of the Business Leadership Excellence Institute. And this is where the Body Language Strategy is one of the academies. We also have the Business Leadership Success Academy, where we teach business design and team management. And I'm very excited. We're launching the Women's Leadership Coalition, and that's a membership where you join in. We do national networking events. And then also that's where we have our accountability groups, where you can check in and really start living and talking and creating those goals for the abundance principles. And the easiest way to find me is on Facebook or on any social media. That's Kerstin O'Shields, Kerstin. And then also you can check out the BLE Academy, the Institute at www.bleinstitute.com.
All right. So BLE is Body Language Excellence.
So that's Business Leadership Excellence.
Oh, Business Leadership Excellence.
Yes.
Okay.
So the different divisions, we are the Academy, the Body Language Strategy Academy. That's where we talk about executive and personal presence.
Okay.
We teach that part is showing up. And then the Business Leadership Success Academy, that's now the systems and the goal setting and success planning for your business. And then we want are empowered women to empower the world through the Women's Leadership Coalition. So all three of those are housed inside of the BLE Institute.
I see. All right. Well, you are
Yes.
a busy woman, I can tell.
Well, you got to get out there and create a difference to make it happen.
Absolutely. Well, I can't say enough about your excellence and just what I know about you and my interaction with you. So I want, every member here in our group to reach out, to look you up, to find you on Facebook, like you said, or social media in general. And don't hesitate to, shoot Kerstin an email too.
That's
So
right.
the email
Absolutely.
is what?
So the one talking specifically about what we talked about today, you can find me at Kerstin@bodylanguagestrategy.com to get specific aspects and tips on how, you can connect to the Academy to learn more about your body language. We do personal assessments. So that's geared to you and showing up. How are you showing up in those four? So you get a rating in each one of them. And that's where you start to learn, okay, here's my foundations. And here's the areas I need to start working on.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, specifically, this is the segment that I need to make some improvements on. And
absolutely,
this is the education that you will provide to help them get where they want to get.
Yes, that is exactly right.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time today. And I hope you had fun. I certainly had fun listening. And, it's a big issue, I think, right now in our society in general, because of all the electronic tools that we have at our disposal. We forget about that human interaction. And so,
we do.
Yeah, we do. So again, thank you so much, Kerstin, and we'll be seeing you again soon.
Thank you so much for having me here, Marion. It was such a joy. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. My pleasure. Take care now.
Thank you. You too.
All right.